Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning. Welcome to Rettmobil 2012. We are beaming live from Fulda, Germany, and we have the luxury of the Deloitte booth as our hosts, as you're about to see. We have an enormous amount of information to share with you today, and very much look forward to your participation and contribution. We have a number of people who will be speaking, and we're going to try and get through this all in 45 minutes. So here we are at Rettmobil 2012. This is the 5th Rettmobil and also the largest. Welcome, Al. We've just started our webinar. Great timing. And we have a little extra pediatric information for you after your queries. For those of you who are watching this as a recording, this is a recording by the EMS Safety Foundation beamed live to you from Rettmobil in Fulda, Germany. And this is real-time interactive web technology. No other hardware is required. And you can have a look at this anytime, any place that you have the internet and a computer connection. A few webinar basics for those of you who are new to this. Most of you have been here before. So I'm just going to quickly go through this. There's the hand-raising tool and the text messaging tool. I'd like everybody to just type in who they are and where they are. Kyle, everybody type in who they are and where they are right now into the text messaging tool. And the next screen is going to be the screen where you can actually enter your geographic location. So please feel free to do all that. And remember, this webinar is going to be shared throughout pretty much the world and anyone that is interested. And so we are recording this, and please keep all your comments and your text messages suitable for a general audience. Thank you very much. And we are in Fulda right now. Okay. And if you can just type that information in, that would be great. Thank you very much. And moving on to the next screen, I'd like everyone to just mark where in the world on their map they are. If you could pick up the blue pen tool, and I'm going to choose purple. Yes, I know. And we are actually here in the middle of Europe. Nice big circle so I don't make a mistake. And if everybody could just mark on the map where they are, in what part of the world, that would be great. It's nice and quiet here at Rettmobil. This is the last half hour of the day here until Rettmobil opens tomorrow. So please mark on the map where you are, and those of you who are here can mark on the map where they are. Oh, there you go. Very good. All right. And Al Hakel's out on the west coast, so that's great. Be patient with the slides today because we're on a broadband connection with a lot of other people around. We're actually recording this, so again, your comments, both typed and verbal, will be recorded. So what is Rettmobil? Well, Charlene's had the privilege of being here with us, and I'll tell you one very interesting thing about Rettmobil on this particular occasion is that we've actually seen a number of US manufacturers coming to visit to see what's this Rettmobil they keep hearing about. So you guys are having impact, far-reaching impact. Rettmobil has been put together by Professor Peter Sefrin, and he sometimes joins us, but we're a little on the end of the day today, so we may not see him. This is the biggest Rettmobil they've had, and there's more than 20,000 people. It's held here in Germany, and this is Professor Sefrin. He's a professor of emergency medicine and has been involved with pre-hospital emergency care for many years, and actually was one of Heidi Cordy's professors. And we are sitting here at the Deloitte booth. Carl, you'll be able to do the mic and the video for the speakers for us. So I'm sitting here at the Deloitte booth with Arne Schauer, and I'll show you the Deloitte booth in just a moment. You need to get him mic'd up so you can talk. And this is the Rettmobil site here. It's a very large site. I'm going to show you around the Rettmobil site as we get Arne Schauer mic'd up to speak to us briefly. Each one of these tents in this image back here, each one of these tents is as big as the field for Is as big as the field is as big as the field for any major Congress floor. And here we have 10 of them, so it's a really big site. And this event is actually brought to you by the EMS Safety Foundation. We're going to have Anna Schauer mic'd in just a moment to speak to you. He's one of our hosts here. Let me just show you the sort of traffic you've got to travel through to get to the Rettmobil event. This is the biggest ambulance traffic jam you'll ever see. And the EMS Safety Foundation is what's bringing this event here today. I'm getting sound feedback. Turn off. Turn off. The EMS Safety Foundation is an organization that brings together people from diverse disciplines. You're going to hear from ergonomists, you're going to hear from operational people and transportation people. Sort of like a think tank to share safety innovation. So really the mantra of the EMS Safety Foundation is innovation, collaboration, and knowledge transfer. And really, rip off and duplicate is probably the order of the day, I think. We want to see what folks are doing, what's the best information that's out there, and how to best apply that to our environment. And the theme for our presentations here at Rettmobil, and this is our schedule. Yesterday we had one of our first webinars, is really looking at how we can transfer information from the international players to our own operations. This year we have a different approach. We have a social media approach. We've got roaming video feeds, podcasts, Twitter, and live feeds to GEMS and EMS responders. So stand by for some of that information. And I need to see the slides. I got no slides. Okay, Carl's just going to place my computer right here so I can walk us through the next series of images. Last year we actually had to do a fair bit of the manual work ourselves, and you're going to see this year we actually have the ambulance in the background there on display at Rettmobil. You're going to see a lot of that tomorrow. You might have some slow transition of some of the slides here. We're on broadband, so please bear with me. Yeah. So there just seems to be a bit of a slowdown on the broadband, and you might have a little delay on some of the slides there. It's a little problem with our broadband communication, and just bear with us. I'll take you back to this image. So this ambulance here is the ambulance we brought to Rettmobil last year. I'm very pleased to tell you there's been some impressive modernization of this vehicle, and we've actually got the next edition on display here at Rettmobil, and I'm pleased to tell you we'll be having a session tomorrow in detail with that vehicle. I've got some shots of the interior just at the end today to share with you. This is actually what our booth looked like last year. We had a contained booth, and that's Professor Sefrin. Well, this year we've got a roving team trying to get as much information to bring back to you as possible. And bear with us, there'll be a shot coming up just a moment of the actual Deluy booth that we're in, and that's it there. And the Deluy booth is jam-packed with interesting vehicles, and there are literally hundreds of ambulance vehicles here today. And in the next image I'll show you a shot of Martin Deluy and Anna Schauer. And the shower seems to be coming up. There we go. So it's Martin Deluy, and we're going to flip over the microphone and the why not? Okay, we're going to flip over the microphone to Anna Schauer now, just to do a brief introduction. So I'm going to turn off my video camera now.
Good morning, America. Good afternoon, America.
Anna Schauer, would you like to say a few words?
Warm welcome from Fulda, in the middle of Germany, in the middle of Europe, and a warm welcome to the EMS Safety Foundation delegation, who comes now, it's nearly a tradition, every year to this famous exhibition. This is from the largest exhibition in Europe for ambulances and safety equipment. Warm welcome. I will cut my words short, as Nadine has a full PACS program with brand new consumption of new informations, and she will give it to you now. Enjoy, and thank you for listening. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Arno. We really appreciate your hospitality. And in actual fact, okay. Okay, so here we are. So if it weren't for Anna Shower, we would not have Rettmobil, and we're very, very grateful to Louis and Arna and the organisation that they have really run for many years as one of the leading ambulance manufacturers in the world. So here we are. This is our support staff here, Jen Bates, Carl Bates' wife, helping put up our poster to position ourselves in the Louis booth yesterday. You can see the Furno booth in the background there. And here we are. We're actually sitting right underneath this booth, and I'm going to attempt to put that camera back on so you can see what's going on. And there we go. So we're sitting right in front of that booth right there, giving you your presentation today. And as we wandered in today, it's very hot here. We look all a little sweaty. It is very, very hot in here. I feel like I'm in Outback, Australia, and I was delighted to see a retro-reflective hat that reminded me of Outback, Australia, although somewhat different colour scheme. The clothing here you'll see is very high visibility clothing. And here's Jim Foster speaking with Anna Shower when we arrived here yesterday. Jim's from Anchorage and been with us to Rettmobil before. And here you can see Carl Bates. Carl Bates has been providing invaluable support with multimedia for this event, and you're going to be seeing his video clips, his podcast. He's done some outstanding work and has been helpful managing to do this session offline. As I said, it's very, very hot, and we've been drinking lots of water. It's very hot and sweaty here. Just want to show you a few little things. There's going to be a collage of images. This is one of the interesting wheelchair securing systems that we saw just a little earlier today. I wanted to share with you. And the use of creativity and flexible systems. Ronald Ralston is going to spend a couple of minutes talking to us about the stretcher he was having a look at just over the way at Furno. And this is a stretcher that is actually a convertible stretcher that Ronald and I were having a look at a little earlier. Yeah, Ronald's familiar with the system. He's good. Okay. So, Ronald, have you got an image? No picture? I'll bring the picture around for him. Here, have a look at him. Oh. Okay, yeah. Okay, Ronald, over to you. Do you have some image there? No, here, you can have a look at this image. Is your mic on?
Thank you, Nadine. This is one of the stretchers that Furno built in the UK. It's a electrically operated stretcher built for bariatric patients, and it can lift up to 350 kilos, and patients up to 400 kilos on the lower position. The nice thing about it is that it can be widened, so you can even take a patient with a wider body surface. So it can be up to 90 centimeters wide. This one, yeah. Okay, and thank you.
So Ronald and I spent a bit of time with that stretcher. We got some great video of it being used in a number of positions. We're very fortunate to have Chris Fitzgerald join us. He's just arrived from a long-haul flight from Australia. Managed to squeeze us in between some projects. Welcome, Chris Fitzgerald. I'm just going to put up a little quick video shot so we can just see that Chris is really with us here. There we go, Chris. Chris has actually got in the background behind him, you can actually in just a moment see the Furno booth, and here's Chris Fitzgerald. So welcome, Chris, and over to you. Okay, Chris, just get your mic set up for you, and okay. Welcome.
Thanks very much. It's great to be here again. It's good to see the expansion of the displays here. I was chatting to Ronald before. We were thinking what's changed over the last few years since we've started to come here, and we've noticed that there's much more attention to handling the larger patient, the bariatric type patient. I've seen at least half a dozen vehicles here, whereas I think 4 or 5 years ago there might have been 1, possibly 2. And also we're seeing that in stretcher design, as Ronald highlighted. And just it's busier. There's more people, there's more displays, there's less space to walk in. So clearly the interest of Rettmobil is growing. That's good to see. Okay, I think we're going to have a look at some images here. And great, yeah, here's one of myself. Michael's taken some photos of me. This is a device called the Animax. It's a CPR device, and it's quite an interesting device. We featured it a few years ago, so it's been around, and I had a good chat to the lady on the right, and she's actually a paramedic, so she's not just a salesperson. She has used this a number of times, and its deployment is quite quick. It fits around the patient. It self-adjusts according to the width, and also self-adjusts for tension on the over the sternum according to that width setting, and then it goes to a certain depth. But essentially it's a simple mechanical leverage system. It's automatically configured to give 2 breaths via a pump after 30 pumps, and it's just very, very simple, and it's a mechanical option for CPR. And she described her colleagues being able to use and deliver that whilst in transit, remaining seated. The designs in Europe would be for forward-facing seat beside the patient, and also she's used it in the field, so away from the ambulance as well. And I thought, well, you may as well put it to the test, may as well not just talk about it. So I faked a sudden cardiac arrest, and she quickly attended to me, and I've got a few fractured ribs now as a result. So, but I'm alive and well. So that was a great demonstration. It was quite helpful of her, and we caused a bit of interest as well. But that's what Rettmobil's about, is not just allowing people to display items, but putting them to the test and having a look and creating a bit of interrogation so you can satisfy your own line of curiosity. Here's another device. So ambulances are coming in all shapes and sizes now. This is one for a water ambulance. It could be a weekender, I guess, for the those who get to take it out on the lakes or the sea. But it's obviously a rapid form of response over water. Clearly there'll be some limitations about its use, but it just reflects the whole requirement for engagement of being able to deliver paramedics and their services pretty much across whatever the community is doing. And in previous years we've even seen specialist boats that have inflatable devices that have essentially a hole in the middle of the hull that they can drag a patient up through. And so it's again another benefit of Rettmobil, where you see all sorts of weird and wonderful types of designs that really reflects creativity, and we hope sort of good design and good ergonomics. And here's another image. Yes, I do. I've got some images here. So we've got just an image of the general convivial atmosphere. So here's a little bit of Bavaria in the middle of Germany, with this sort of beer garden type scene that's been created here by this particular supplier. So it just sort of reflects the level of interest, and Germans are doing what Germans do well, and sit around and have a beer and eat a few sausages. And here's just another demonstration of technology advance. This particular item is a conversion of the or an adaptation to the EasyGlide stair chair from Furno. It's a bit hard to see here, but there's actually a motorised device at the lower end near the tracks, and so it provides a powered mechanism that can bring you upstairs. The controls around my thumbs up near the upper part of the handle, so I can control them whilst maintaining a strong hook grip on the handles, and also just activate the device. So this has been coming for a while, and it's good to see these sort of products on the market to make it easier for paramedics. Well, I talked about novel vehicles, and here we have a classic. It's what can I say? It's a first responder. It's got a little bit of gear on the back there, probably in a sports application, I'd imagine. But I'm not sure how to do on the open highway. But Dr. Levick's there, happy to give a test run that, yeah, and go do that. So thanks for that, and I'll hand you back now to Dean Levick.
Hi there. Well, thank you very much, Chris, for that overview. We've got Chris coming back to do a little more for you just shortly, but that was excellent. This is a very unusual vehicle. It actually has 2 seats in it, which surprised me. It has a passenger seat in the back and a seat in the front, and gear in the back, and it has quite a novel way to get in and out. You actually have to slide that door up, and it's pretty easy to get in and out of that car in a hurry. Clearly has a great role in areas where there's high traffic congestion or pedestrian congestion, and definitely something to look to add to the fleet mix. Here's another device that we've seen in and out about different parts of the world. This is a Segway vehicle, and again, being presented here as a very realistic component of the EMS fleet. Just a few other little vehicle features I'll just point out. This is one of the features we've seen in many vehicles. You're going to see it in some detail when we go through the Norwegian vehicle in more detail tomorrow. And these are these flip-down seats that are automotive-grade seats that flip down to allow you better access and egress and a safe ride. I wanted to point this out. I thought this was interesting. Not often you see this at the US EMS shows. This structure in the front here is actually the shock absorber, and this is actually an image of some of the technical side to give the patient a comfortable ride. Some of these markings on the front are interesting. There's a lot of discussion about the merit or not of checkerbox Battenberg markings. It can camouflage the provider's vest. But I did want to point out that they actually emphasize the features that would give a safe, comfortable ride to the patient. I think that's a very key issue. I just wanted to point out, I know Al's online. We did look around. We've got a little more pediatric stuff to share in some more detail another time. But I'm pleased to tell you, Al, that the work that we're doing within the EMS Safety Foundation is clearly up there and well above what we've seen here. This had a sort of little fluffy thing inside with a Velcro closure. What I did like to see, it did have some attempt at providing a cushion between the infant and the transport cot. Very similar equipment to what you're used to, and I think the importance of that project that we've discussed is very key. The other thing I wanted to emphasize here, and this is a bit of a complex image, and I'm going to walk you through it. This is a big flat screen TV, and then these objects here with the little blue boxes next to them are actually networked AEDs. And this is a very interesting company that makes AEDs and has each one with its own IP address, so you know exactly where they are, whether they're charged, whether they're not charged. And I'm very impressed. It's a company called Schiller, and a lot of thought went into doing this work, and obviously they do put a lot of thought, but I was quite impressed to see the red wine and the cheese and the grapes. Obviously they feed themselves well, and I think this just highlights there are places in the world that do this and do this very well, and I'm very impressed to see that. Not only did they have networked defibrillators, but that's my left hand there, and that's my smartphone next to their smallest AED. That AED is about the size of 4 smartphones, a bit smaller actually. Unbelievable, very compact, and they really realize that it's important to design for the environment that you're in. And here's another example of designing for the environment you're in. This is one of the physio-control defibrillators, and all sort of designed around, this is really the environment they're in, rocks and junk and dirt, and so they were just trying to emphasize the real world, and I like that emphasis on the real world. Here's another, for those of us that work in the hospital and transport environment, This is a cardiac monitor, and I can pinch that in the space between my fingers. And this is another one. You know, we're used to big, large, awkward, heavy bits of equipment. This comes from Weinmann. Very compact, very simple, yet very comprehensive cardiac transport monitor. Very thin. And this is another piece of equipment, and again, this is just in a finger span. This is a suction device, and this is a very compact suction device. And I think, again, equipment like this, it's great to see it, great to see that this is possible, this is out there. We should be thinking outside of the box. And what we've seen here, just as Chris said, huge array of equipment, vehicles jammed in so tight you just about can't back up away enough to get a photograph. And I just want to have Chris just come back on in just a moment to talk about some of the clothing. Clearly we've seen a radical change in clothing in the United States in the time that we've been doing this. It used to be quite unusual to see anything like the clothing that we've seen here in the United States, and now we routinely see quality clothing, high visibility clothing. And here we've got a shot of Chris, and I think that's Neil Blacking. Is that Neil in the background? Looking at some clothing here.
Yeah,
and Chris, I was just wondering if you'd like to say a few words about this backboard and some specific features you wanted to point out.
That just make it slightly easier for people to perform their work. So it's just walking past this particular spine board or backboard. I just noticed how the edge, it's a bit hard to see on the image, but the edge is sort of has a beveled angle to it, and it just provides this nice clearance so you can get the knuckles or the fingers underneath around the handle, which is the purpose of having a hand there, so you can grab that and sort of give it some movement capability. So it's just that sort of simple design I appreciate, and also just the both the padding, the disposable padding, which is also an absorbent material as well along the board. So I'm actually not sure if it extends the period for which people can remain on the backboard, but it seems to be comfort oriented as well. And the next slide highlights, as I mentioned previously, some mechanical control for the Furno EasyGlide stair chair, and that they've been able to include this design on top of the existing facility, so it needs some consideration about hand placement, how they're going to activate the mechanism. And here's a nice sort of simple device where even though I'm not holding onto the handles there, I can easily hold the handles and just activate the controls with my thumbs whilst maintaining full control of the handle on the stair chair. No problem. Back to you, Dr. Levick.
Thank you very much, Chris. It really is a luxury to have Chris Fitzgerald with us. He's arguably now positioned as the world-leading ergonomist involved in EMS industry. Maybe Neil first. Probably the most preeminent person now, having just conducted a number of symposia at the World Ergonomics Conference only a month or so ago. We're very fortunate to have him here, and very grateful for all the work that he's done to keep ourselves safe. We're sitting here right at the Deluy booth right now, and just so you got a bit of a sense, we've cut the video off briefly because we've got very low bandwidth. There's a lot of people at this conference, but I just wanted you to get a bit of a feel for the environment that we're sitting in here in the Deluy booth. The other thing, actually Neil Blackington pointed these out, a couple of interesting features in the paintwork, Neil Blackington. And I was just wondering if you could speak to some of the paintwork issues. I'm just pointing them out in this image here.
Sure. Thank you very much, Nadine. So we've been looking for several years at some issues, including conspicuity of emergency vehicles from different perspectives. And as late as the FEMA-sponsored study on vehicle conspicuity about a year and a half or 2 years ago, they talked about contour markings. And while contour markings generally is thought of as being a solid line that runs along the plane of a vehicle, the edge of the vehicle to delineate its size or its length, In this particular set, we're starting to see some things such as dots strategically placed along the edge of a fender or along the outside contours of a vehicle. And that affords, obviously it's a little bit more, more cost effective, first of all. It also allows one to follow irregular contours more readily than a standard line would. And it also allows to use very comprehensive materials. Some of the newest material, as you probably know, particularly that coming out of Europe, is very thick and somewhat difficult to mount around curves and so forth. So in order to make this work, and it is a superior reflective continuity, they've kind of separated those long lines by small patches, or in this case, some dots. And so that actually makes a world of difference. We got a chance last night when all the lights were shut off at the very end to shine some lights on and see just how well they all work.
Thank you very much, Neil. I must admit, seeing stuff like that, it's simple, costs less, easier to do than what we're doing currently. And that's what we're here to find out. What can we do that is better, easier, cheaper than what we're already doing? I'm very pleased to see that Neil is actually, Neil who's in his fabulous EMS Safety Foundation t-shirt that I'm going to show you very briefly, although our bandwidth is small. And whilst we did see some things that were better, safer and easier, we're starting to also see some other issues where we know it's not the way to go because you don't have head and neck support, and it's a problem that can put you at risk. And so I'll just give you a shot of Neil's fabulous t-shirt. Look at that. He's got the EMS Safety Foundation E-tag on his t-shirt there. That's very cool, Neil. So I'll just transmit that, and they can see there's Neil with his EMS Safety Foundation t-shirt. So the bandwidth's a little slow while we have the video on, but I just wanted you to say a few words about the sorts of hazards of this sort of approach and how designing the environment so you're not in a position where you have to do that.
Certainly. Well, here's an example of a well-intentioned device, and I will say some of the positive things about it first, in that you sit down into this harness and apparatus, and I'm not sure if it's as easy to see with my black shirt and the black straps, but basically the harness lies flat on the bucket seat that's shown here. You sit down and then you wrap around into basically a 4-point harness with a single central buckle. And at that point you are probably as secure as one is going to be in a seat. However, this circumstance allows you to then move out and away from your seat to do a particular task. So this is where the confidence level probably changes just a little bit, because you think you're in a harness and you've moved off the seat a little bit or out of the way to reach something that's a good deal away from you. And that's kind of pretty much where that zone of safety ends, because at this point you're somewhat tethered and your weight is as free to fly around as any other circumstance. So while this does offer the probability that you won't have to buckle and unbuckle every single time you want to get up from a seated position to reach for something, and so there's some inherent safety benefit there, one must be very careful about starting to move around the ambulance like a puppet on a string for fear that you'll run into some sort of a collision while you are well away from your seat and sort of hanging on by just a couple of threads, if you will.
Much, Neil, and I think what it highlights is that, whilst being restrained is a good idea, being in a device like this, which is not really designed for the automotive environment, and one of the biggest challenges is that it gives you a sense of safety, but there is no head or neck protection, and that is something that can immediately cause you more harm than if you had just an ordinary seatbelt on. Moving right along. We not only had exposure to fabulous innovation in emergency services, but some of our participants, you can hear the background. They're actually trying to close us up at 5, So we're almost right on time here. A few more slides and we'll be out of here. So Jim Foster from Anchorage EMS had the opportunity last year to be most adventurous, and whilst we keep people really busy, somehow or other, Jim found a few moments to find a gig in the local pub. And I'm just going to have Jim speak a few words about the sort of non-technical side of our
Hello, this is Jim Foster, and we had an opportunity to have some cultural exchange on the universal language of music, and there at the piano is a gentleman named Frank Tischer. He's a professional piano player who last year when we were playing music in the bar, myself and Chris Fitzgerald, he jumped up from the stool, sat down at the panel and joined us, and we had just a spontaneous jam session. And we repeated again the session. This year it wasn't spontaneous, it was planned, but this is from last night when we were playing some roots music. We were making a tribute to the roots music giant Levon Helm and having a great time. That's me with the big mouth.
Thanks so much, Jim. And I'm pleased to tell you that not only is Jim a gifted musician, but so is also Chris. And we were, yeah, we're actually having a vehicle ramp descend upon us as we speak here. So we're very pleased to have that. We'll be having them play for us again tonight. I just want to show, here's a shot of Chris Fitzgerald and Neil Blackington from Boston EMS. It looks like the place is on fire, but in actual fact what that is that's a test zone there where they try to create an environment that will be good for training, to give you an idea of what it's like to work in suboptimal visibility conditions. And just a little teaser for tomorrow, here's me pointing out some of the features of Ronald Rolfson's phenomenal ambulance from Norway. There'll be a lot more of that tomorrow, and also available for some folks online and also via GEMS and EMS Responder. And here's Ronald speaking to the actual builder of that vehicle. I think there's a number of things you can see in this photo alone that are really great. This little panel here where you can access information, a fold-down seat, a harness system that can only be put on properly for the patient, and there's a lot of other features we'll be addressing. And as we wrap up, as Rettmobile's wrapping up and behind us, we just want to emphasize that for successful technology, reality must take precedence over public relations, for nature cannot be fooled. And those doors shutting behind us are the ambulance doors closing. We're going to have to pack up and move on. Brief moment for any questions. Glenn's asked us, if you have the opportunity, could you try taking a flash photo of the ambulance with the reflective dots? Great, yes, we'll do that. If you've got any requests of anything that we've seen, let us know. We'll try and get it done on our way before we get back to you tomorrow, and to share with you when we get back to the States. Thanks again for your patience with the technology today. We've had everything go on today, from the power cutting out to Microsoft doing an update to a few other little technical glitches that were just unavoidable with bandwidth in a place with 20,000 people all sharing the same. So I hope we'll be able to show you some worthwhile information. Clearly, every time I come here, I think I'm not going to see anything different, and every time I come here, I see new innovations, I see new ways of doing things, I see something out of the box, and it's our privilege to bring that back to you. So thanks very much, and we look forward to sharing some more information with you, either live or on the recording. I just want to introduce the youngest member of our team. We have one very young member here. I'm going to introduce the youngest member of the team. We've never had a young child join us. Come over here, Holden. I'm going to introduce you. You're going to have a seat over here. And this is Holden Bates. Now, Holden's been our test child. I'm just going to throw up a very quick video, and you're going to see Holden. And Holden is our test child. He participated. There we go. You sit in your chair and you're good. That's it. That's it. Good. Very good, Holden. Okay, I got you all beamed up there. You're all mic'd up. There you go, Holden. So Holden's been a trooper. He's participated in our activities. He's helped us look at some of the equipment, and he's been a real star. And we're very grateful. Would you like to say hi to everybody in the world, Holden, and tell them what Rettmobile was like for you?
Yeah.
That's great. Was it fun? It was fun. Fabulous. Okay, Holden. See you later then. you want to cut his mic? And on that note, just so you can see, we even had a little 10-month-old baby. And thank you very much, Holden. You're the first child ever to speak on our webinar. You did a great job. We're really proud of you, okay? You're a great guy. Okay, so with that, it's over and out. Thanks, everybody. If you could just sign yourselves out. And what we're going to do is, if you could log yourselves out, and then we'll end the recording. And please feel free to pass on any questions or anything that you would like us to do in the next little while. And we'll try and get images to you of anything that you want to see. So again, thank you very much. And we'll see you on the next webinar. That was great. Okay.